Hey, welcome back to another episode of Digital Marketing 101 for Latinas. I am your host and your coach, Heidi de la Cruz. And today we are going to get into all things SEO. So today's episode ties with last week's episode about blogging. And today I want to talk about all things SEO so then you can know exactly how to format your blog and what is everything in regards to SEO that will help your blog rank on Google or searching platforms. So, for example, if someone searches for podcast SEO, which is something that I specialize in, when they search podcast SEO, my blog post for that is optimized for SEO. So it will come up and it is ranking on Google. So people will find my blog post, read it, and either sign up for my audio training for podcast SEO or sign up for a podcast audit that I do. So different things, right? Different call to actions that I have in there. But that all ties into SEO and it ties into blogging. So today, again, I'm going to define what SEO is, and I am going to tell you how to optimize your blog post for SEO to make sure that it ranks. So let's get started. Okay, so first, what is SEO? So SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization, and it's the process of generating organic, free traffic to your website, right? So this is not paid ads on Google. This is not to pay to have your blog posts rank up top, right? This is organic free traffic. And so with SEO, you will improve the ranking of the position of your blog posts through the search engines like Google, Bing. I can't even remember all the other search engines because I only use Google. So let me know in the comments what other search engines you guys may use. But so for example, like I mentioned earlier, if you search podcast SEO, my blog post for that will come up because I do have it optimized for SEO. What is it that you need to have your blog post rank on Google? So the search engines will look for the following things. One, they'll look for the keyword, right? So, what is the keyword that or the topic that you are talking about in this particular blog post? So, this is a word or words that people are searching for. And so, the search engine are looking to see if the keywords are posted throughout the blog post. So, best practice is to use one word to up to four words that are keywords that you're targeting for that blog post. Next, the search engines are looking for good content. So, is your content relevant to what the user is searching for? So, for example, just because Google likes long form content doesn't mean that you can add a bunch of content that isn't relevant to the topic just to try to meet the 1000 word or whatever, how many words you're trying to reach for that blog post. The content has to be relevant to the topic. Another thing that the search engines are looking for is the user experience of your website. So is your website easy to navigate? Is it there or is there too much going on? If it's not easy to navigate or it's confusing, then Google is not going to move your article up because it's not giving your user, the person who's going to read your blog post, it's not giving them a good experience. So if the website is confusing or there's too much going on, most likely it's not going to be able to rank. Another thing that the search engines are looking for is performance. So does your website or does the page take too long to load? This can come from pictures because you do need pictures or videos to optimize for SEO. So if like the picture is too big and it's taking a long time to load, that's not a good performance for the website. Another thing that the search engines are looking for is the website mobile friendly because a lot of people are on their phones searching for things and they're going to your website on their phone. So you want to make sure that it is mobile friendly and is it accessible to all users, right? So maybe those who are hard of hearing and things like that. So you want to make sure that the website is accessible to all users. So now let's look into how we can use these aspects for SEO to make your website and your blog post rank higher on search engines. Okay, so first, like I said, keywords. So first you should do research on what words people are searching for that are relevant to the topic that you want to talk about. And there are free tools to use this to do keyword research. You can use wordstream.com/keywords. You can go to trends.google.com/trends, or you can go to wordtracker.com. And so, like, let's say, for example, I want to write a blog post about podcast marketing. So, like, how to use your podcast to market your business. So, I would do a keyword research of podcast marketing to see what questions people are asking relevant to that topic. And then from there, I will go ahead and, create a title and things like that relevant to what people are searching. So you definitely want to know what people are looking for so then you can go ahead and answer those questions within your blog post. You also want to research keywords to see how popular it is because you're going to be competing with bigger websites. And so there are tools that also do provide and let you know like how many people are searching for it, how easy or difficult it would be to rank for that. So then that way you can also do some changes so that there's not a lot of competition and so you'll be able to rank higher. All right, let's get into content. So again, in order to rank, search engines want a post with a minimum of 300 words. That's literally one paragraph. However, Google likes long-term content, right? So a minimum of about 1,000 words. And please don't let that scare you. Like I mentioned in the previous episode, you can use ChatGPT to outline your blog post and then put in the content in there. And then also if you use Google Word or Word, you can see your word count and then you can see if you're meeting that goal. It's actually a lot easier than you think to reach 1,000 words than not. So please don't let that scare you. And this is because the longer the post, the more detailed information is in there and more value you can provide, right? However, like I mentioned earlier, you don't want to just put in random things that are not relevant because Google will know and your blog post will not rank, right? We don't want to add fluff just to have the word count. We want to make sure that we are providing value and that we are providing good content to our audience. The standard length of a blog post usually is between 500 to 700 words. Again, Google likes them a little bit longer. However, that's not best for SEO, like I mentioned. So we definitely want to shoot for more words. The most important thing about the content is that the question that your audience is looking for is answered and that you're providing valuable content. So meaning that the content is original, high quality, well written, because we definitely don't want to be copying other people's content either. We don't want to do that. No, 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 no. All right, let's get into user experience. So user experience is important because search engines wants to provide people with the best results for their searches. So even if you've written an excellent answer for your post, but if your site is slow and it's a mess and it's unsafe, Google will not consider it the best. Okay, so it's not going to push your content if all that is going on. So as stated before, your website should be easy to navigate. People should be able to find whatever that they need easily. Users tend to click out when there's so much going on the website. So again, making sure that it's the best the best user experience possible. User experience includes everything from using your site. So like from checking your products, if you have a store in your website, apps, if you have apps linked to it, or your checkout page and so much. And so like literally just the overall experience of your website, making sure that it's a good user experience. You also, again, like I mentioned earlier, you want to make sure that your website is accessible for all types of users, like the visually impaired and things like that. All right, performance. So, as mentioned earlier, if your page or your website takes too long to load, it won't rank as high on the search engines. And you can definitely check the speed of your website at pagespeed.web.dov. So, put yourself in the user's shoes, right? So how many times have you gone on a website and it takes too much to load or there's too much going on and then you end up clicking out and then going to the following website. So the same thing can happen with your website and that's not what we want. We want to, drive traffic to it and we want to make sure that it's a good user experience. We want to make sure that the questions are answered, but then we also want, people to buy your products and hire us for coaching or hire us for public speaking, right? We definitely want all that to happen, and with the user experience and the performance of the website, all of that ties into it. Okay, making sure once again that our website is mobile friendly. Recent data shows that over 60% of our website traffic comes through mobile phones. Like I said earlier, everyone's on their phone, searching on their phone. So when they are searching for answers, they're most likely looking up on an article or coming to a blog post and things like that through their phone. All right, next is backlinks. So, backlinks are when another website has a link to your website or your blog post. And this helps with SEO ranking because it shows a search engine that your content is informational and valuable. So, that means that it's showing the search engine that another website is trusting your website with the relevant information. So that's why backlinks are so important to SEO. You should also link to other websites from your post. So, for example, use links for research or sources that helps show credibility to search engines. And also, it helps with, data and statistics and things like that. It also helps with your topic. You want to avoid plagiarism and give credit where credit's due. So if you want to use a source to back up, whatever it is that you're talking about, you definitely want to give credit to where you found that source, right? Because we're not here to plagiarize. We're not here to take other people's ideas. We're here to give credit where credit is due. And then always make sure that the source or the website that you are linking is relevant to the topic at hand that you are talking about and your keywords. Backlinks also help with your DA or domain authority. And the higher the score, the more search engine will trust your website. You can check your DA score with Moz, so moz.com, and it will give you a score. So the higher you get to 100, the better, more trust the search engines have of your website. All right, so just like we need external links, we also need internal links. So internal links is the opposite of external links. It's linking to another article or blog post that you wrote that goes along with the current post. So for example, when I write about podcasting in my blog, there's different topics that I write about podcasting. And if I've written another article that is similar to the topic at hand, I'll go ahead and link the other article and be like, hey, if you want to find out more information about this, click here. Or I also wrote another article about XYZ and then, link it. So when I link it, so then, it goes with the internal links and that helps with SEO. You can also link to other pages on your website. So, for example, if you're writing about something and you want to take your user to your services page, like, okay, well, I also help with this type of service. And then you can go ahead and link or tell them, like, find out more information on my services page. And then you link your services page to that blog post that you are currently writing about. Since you are going to be using external links, which is links to other websites, and then also internal links within your own website, you want to set some time, at least once a month, to check for broken links. Meaning, when you first linked that, it was working, but let's say 2 months down the line, something happens and that link is no longer working or that website is no longer up, you definitely want to check for those broken links, because if you have a lot of broken links, that also hurts your SEO. So you can check once a month at least for broken links at brokenlinkcheck.com. Okay, next we have the meta description, which is also part of SEO. So the meta description summarizes the content of your post that appears under your search engine link. So let's say you are looking for podcast SEO. It's the best example that I can give right now. When you go to Google and you see that all the things that come up for podcast SEO, you will see that there's a little summary before you click on it. That is what the meta description is. So the meta description briefly describes the information in the blog post and article so readers can determine if your post includes the information that they seek. So the meta description should be between 130 to 160 characters, not words. So this is letters as well. Okay. No more than 300 characters. Remember, it's just a summary. So you want to make sure that the summary is all visible. So that's why up to 160 characters. And you want to make sure that your keyword is in your meta description. Okay, another thing that is needed for SEO formatting is images. So you should include at least one picture in your blog post. You can include more, but definitely one is minimum because you need a picture. And you can use your own pictures or you can use stock pictures. There are plenty of websites where you can use free stock images. There's Pixels, there's Unsplash, which are the most popular ones. And most website hosts include at least one of those imaging sites that you can link through your draft before you publish your blog post for easy access. Your website host should have a place to add alt tags to your images. So, the alt tag is a tag description of what the picture looks like. So, for example, if you have a picture of like a whiteboard that says audience and there's a hand with a marker, that's exactly what you're going to write in the alt description. You're showing what the picture looks. This also helps with providing the user friendly for everybody, so for the visual impaired. So then that description tells them, hey, there's a picture on this page, this is what the picture is. This is a description of the picture, right? And it's also best practice to include your keyword in the description of the image. All right, so those are all the formats or all the aspects of SEO that is needed in a blog post to be able to rank. So with all of this, you are able to put SEO optimized blog posts to be able to rank on Google. So here are a few tips for formatting your post. You want to capitalize your title of your blog post like if it was a book. So I like to use the website capitalizemytitle.com. So then it helps me know which words should be capitalized and which ones should not. This website also gives you a headline score, which will help with your SEO. So you want your headline score to be between 60 and 100 so it's easy to read for everyone. Oh, now that I mentioned that, I just remembered. You want to make sure that your content is at a 6th grade reading level. I think it's 5th grade or 6th grade. I can't remember, because that is the average reading level of the population of the United States. So you don't want to use too many complicated or big words or try to avoid some jargon for a particular industry unless your target audience is in that industry. But it's best practice to make sure that your content is at a 6th grade reading level. All right, so you're going to format your title with the H1 header, and then the first subheader should be H2, and then everyone after that should be H3. And that's again for SEO formatting. You want to break up the paragraphs into bite-sized content, so about 4 sentences per paragraph, no more than 300 words. And then you also want to end your blog post with a call to action. So, what is it that you want your readers to do? You want them to sign up for your newsletter? Do you want them to buy a product? Do you want them to, like I say, apply for coaching? Like whatever it is that you want your user to do, make sure that you end your blog post with a call to action. And that is all that it takes for SEO. So today we talked about what exactly SEO is, all the aspects of SEO and how it helps your blog post rank. Also talked about how to format your blog post. This episode also ties in with the previous episode on how to start a blog, how to monetize a blog, and then how to format a blog. And just like the previous episode, I do have the how to start and monetize your blog workbook that I created, which again has all the information on starting a blog, has all the information on formatting your blog, and then also has the information on SEO. So everything that I talked about today is included in that workbook, and you can get it in my Stan store right now. The link is in the show notes and show description. If you have any questions in regards to SEO, leave them in the comment, or there is an option that Buzzsprout, my podcast host, has where you can text me. So go ahead and look for that send a text option so you can text me the question and I will be more than happy to answer for you. And yes, thank you again so much for tuning in for another episode of Digital Marketing 101 for Latinas. I am your host and your coach, Heidy de la Cruz, and I'll see you in the next episode.